Hi, I'm Glenn May. I'm with BassResource.com, and I'm here with Jason Quinn. Jason, glad to have you aboard today.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, Jason, you've been fishing for, gosh, how many years now?
I've been fishing my whole life. I grew up on the lake that I still live on now, and I just always went fishing. I didn't want to get a real job, so.
So, in all those years of fishing, what would be your most memorable bass?
Probably any time that I catch one that makes me some money. Probably my largest bass I ever caught was at Lake Falcon here a couple years ago, and it was a real memorable moment because I've never caught a 12-pounder. So
12-pounder during a tournament. That was really exciting.
it was really exciting, but I didn't get big fish. So,
Well, speaking of big fish, what would be your most unusual big fish tactic?
you got to do something a little bit different. Of course, swim baits have come a long ways, and you can throw them all day long, and if you get one bite, it's usually the right one, and it's a big one. But you can usually see every fish in the lake throwing a swim bait, so you can kind of see what the lake's got to offer.
So in all years of being a pro angler, what advice you would give to the average angler guy? What's like the most common mistake that you see average anglers make?
The main thing is your time's limited on the water when you're not an angler that comes out and fishes every day like we do. And we're faced with a lot of different things. We're on the water every day developing patterns. And a lot of the common anglers, what they do is they go out on, once a weekend or once a month or something like that, and they always go back to where they caught fish every trip out there because their time's limited on the water. So that's a real big mishap, and guys are missing out on a lot of opportunities.
So what about it? If a guy wants to work his way up through the Bass Club and the regionals, that sort of thing, what kind of advice would you give him in terms of, when's a good time to know that, hey, it's time to step up to the next level, or start trying to look for sponsorships? How do you know when you're ready for that level?
It's kind of one of those things that just happens, like myself. I run a guide service on the lake. I fish a lot of tournaments and just wasn't real sure that I wanted to fish professionally. And so I got in a few opens and stuff like that, and I kind of worked my way up, and I said, you know what, I really feel like I can compete at this level. I have a little advantage and an edge over the guys. And it worked out well, and then you kind of go out and try to obtain some sponsors. And that's where the difficult part is, because of the way the economy is and everything else. But you've got to be promotable and dedicated.
So it sounds like it's more of a confidence type deal. When you feel confident to go up against the higher level competition, then give it a go and see how you land.
Absolutely. It's all about confidence. Once you let that barrier down, then you're done.
Okay. Well, Jason, let me ask you this. If you could fish with anybody, past or present, doesn't have to be an angler or anything like that. It could be Theodore Roosevelt if you want, but whomever you could fish with, who would that be?
It would probably be Jose Wahabi. Really? Just for the simple reason, I watch him on TV a lot. I'm a big fan of saltwater, and he goes out there and he gets the job done. And it would be real exciting.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Now, besides fishing, what other things do you like to do?
I hunt. Once the fishing season's over with, I'm in the woods for the rest of the season.
What do you like to hunt for?
Anything that walks. I do a lot of deer hunting and stuff like that. And we've got a bunch of deer and a bunch of hogs and stuff like that.
And bow hunting or rifle?
Rifle hunting. I bow hunt a little bit, but when bow season's done with, it goes back in the box, back in the closet.
And now, what would be your dream vacation?
That's hard because, a lot of my vacations are based around fishing anyway, and that's always been kind of a dream. So, I kind of do what I want to do.
Okay. So what's one thing about you that maybe the fans don't know that you can share with us?
I'm also a good family guy. I've got a lot of kids, and I spend a lot of time with them, and I keep them involved in the outdoors at all times.
And what's your favorite ice cream?
Really, any of it. The only problem is I don't like to get the little things or a little bowl full. I like to use about a half gallon.
Oh, yeah, of course. You got to gorge, right?
I'm not real picky when it comes to flavor.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to seeing you on the water.
Thanks, guys.